Hey, good people, Davia here, and welcome to another episode of Tales from the Shaker. I am so excited about this episode and this conversation. I've been trying to get this lady on my show for a couple of years.
There are no lies.
Or if it just wasn't really the schedules that time. I don't know. But I have pinned her down and she has surrendered.
Yes.
To have this conversation. And I don't know where she's going to go. Her life is very rich. We were talking about, how did you use that phrase?
My dossier of trauma. You gotta make it sound classy if it's gonna be bad.
Listen, but for all of us have been through some things. Many of us have gone through things that we are not able to talk about. And I know that for many years you weren't ready to be able to be public with some of the things that you've gone through.
Yeah.
But as I was sharing with you earlier, I have such admiration for your fight, your stick to it, your move through the next thing, your resilience, and your faith. And I was talking about how, I've been having a season of beefing with God, and you could relate to that.
Yes, join the team.
Listen, but I want you to hear her story, what parts of it we'll cover, what will come out naturally in this conversation. I know that you're going to identify with the choice to keep moving. There may be there's some unique parts to her story that some unique people will identify with. And I'm excited to be able to just chat around some things.
Yeah, me too.
we're not looking to give anybody any specific answers or anything like that. Just sharing experiences and maybe some lessons.
Yeah.
And hopefully some laughter. Some of the stories are tough, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't even know if those are the ones we're going to get to today. That's so what's the plan? Like, the plan is to have a conversation.
Yes,
So
we'll see where we land.
We'll have a conversation. So I'll tell you a little bit about Mrs. Amanda Mensah.
Yes.
She's a licensed independent social worker, so we connect in that space as well.
Absolutely.
She's in that mental health care space. She's been in the field since 2011. Working in a variety of settings, including private practice, residential facilities, community work, and schools. And while social work is her calling, family and friends, or family and family.
Yes, remember that term?
Yes, I do. And you have amazing family.
Yes.
It's your everything. Mm-hmm. And you are proud to be a girl mom of 3,
yes,
a wife of 14 years.
I know I don't look that old, y'all, but listen.
Yeah, okay. Listen, you made it 14.
Yes.
And I get that. We expect you to make it the next 14. But,
yes.
If
God be willing.
That's been married a long time. You've had those moments when it's like,
oh, wait.
Listen, okay. And out of all fairness, I imagine he has too. My cousin called that to me. I'm like, I like him about 83% of the time. She says, and I imagine he feels the same.
Yeah. Wait a second.
I'm the more perfect of the union. But anyway.
I co-sign.
Listen, originally from the greater Philadelphia area, you were called to Columbus, and you've been home. It's been your home for the last 15 years. And I know that you love time with your family, taking trips.
Yes.
You said preferably to the beach. I understand that.
I need to see the sun and the water.
Yeah, is that
yes.
your happy place?
Yes, I just feel so calm and peaceful.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It's the world to me. And I was thinking, where do we start? I think I want to start with one space of your story that's really unique. You know that you were adopted.
Yeah.
And part of your journey is working through the, I don't know if it's intricacies. You'll give me a better word. The
complexities.
Transracial adoption. So you and your brother were adopted by the same family, a white family in the Philadelphia area. And I know that you love your family. You love your mom and you love your dad.
Yeah.
And but that does not mean that there aren't, as with all, like we all the same people. And I know that there are places where things I couldn't feel.
Yeah.
My sons. And during those formative years, I wonder where there may have been identity. We're all forming identity. We all have identity issues.
Sure.
When you can't see yourself in your own home or in those that input impart to you. Talk a little bit about that. I don't know if I can really give you a question.
Yes.
Jump in there as best you can. You need me to refine, ask me to.
Yeah, I would love to just start off with that you were one of the first people in my life who validated me as a Black woman. And that was in my late 20s, mid to late 20s, where I truly felt like an imposter because I grew up in a predominantly white space. My faith space was predominantly white. My school, was so small that, I joked that I graduated, 50% of my class was Black. There were 6 of us. Yeah, so 3 of us were Black. So,
and one of them was probably, well, no, your brother.
Yes, yeah, and I was one of the 3. So I just never kind of found where I was or what that looked like to really be Black. And so coming into our space and having that really was validating. And you were one of the first people. And so I can't thank you enough for that. And I know we'll talk about, you being my Black mom later, but yes, I think for me, we call it in the adoption community, a lot of us, is coming out of the fog. And what that term means is that regardless of your adoption experience, there's some point when you have this realization that your family began with trauma and your family began with loss. And even in the best case scenario, it's trauma. And I think it was really hard for me to believe or accept that because I went home to the hospital with my family. I was 4 days old, had a great life, never had to worry about where food was coming from or a roof over my head. So I'm like, what you mean this is traumatic? That may be for you, but that's not for me. And then as I got older and was okay and free enough to name some things, that's when I started coming out of the fog and realizing there was pieces of my identity and my awareness that I didn't even know that I should experience or explore. Or there was choices I made where I was trying to connect with someone so hard just because I wanted to be Black culture adjacent in any form or fashion. And, back in the late 80s, early 90s, there wasn't social media like there is now, so you can get connected with people. So you really did feel like you were on an island a little bit of your experience. And that was really, really tough.
You said a couple things that are just enlightening to me, and even though we've talked much of your story, maybe where I connected, I just didn't hear or didn't know to think about, regardless of how you got to your family. It started with trauma.
Yeah.
Your birth parents, your birth mom, however that configuration was, had to make a traumatic decision of some sort.
Yeah.
And all that we know about attachment, theory, and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's not likely any scenario where a child is put up for adoption that wasn't at a minimum a hard space.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think about it in that form, that no matter what, you started with some level of trauma.
Yeah.
And then the other phrase you used was cultural adjacency. And it's just another one of those light bulbs, a little bit deeper. Understanding. We talk about culture a lot, the culture, our culture.
Yeah.
Culture. And there's all this U.S. culture. It's a word that's used a lot. And we talked about cultural appropriation and all of these things, but the need to be next to, into, involved, and immersed in culture that you identify with has got to be quite a journey.
Yeah.
As you are figuring out who you are. Yeah. So you said at some point you became a little more free.
Yeah.
And were able to find vocabulary. How did you find it? Was it through research? Was it through? Help me understand.
Yeah. For me, I would say the large moment of awakening was during the COVID pandemic, because I was on social media connecting with other transracial adoptees, and they had a Black adoptee Zoom gathering. And I said, I'm not going to go to this, but this is a good idea. And then I was like, you know what, maybe I will go to this, but I'm going to just hop on for the first 10 to 15 minutes and then duck out. I'm imagining there's going to be tons of people on this call. There was maybe 15 to 20 of us. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be, they're going to notice if I leave. I can't just sneak out of this Zoom. But as the conversations were going, I realized, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one who felt like this. Things as simple as my name, right? I've always been like, I know where my name comes from and I love who I'm named after. but it never felt Black enough or whatever enough. And I remember another person on the call sharing her story about that. And I was like, oh, okay. And then other people nodding and agreeing. And so it's that commonality there where a lot of us who are transracial, your name is part of your culture and your connection. And so to lose that to traditional white America is a loss and is something there. And so even something like that, I was like, okay, wait a second. And then as other people are talking about other issues, you're like, oh, it's not just me. And I think for most things in the world, when we go through something hard, we don't want it to be just us because it feels like it's just us in that moment. And even though me and my brother are both adopted, our stories are very different. We come from different families of origin, and he was on a different journey than I was. I still felt like this is me and my story and I'm on an island. And so that 2-hour Zoom call made me realize I'm not as alone as I thought I was, and it's okay to name some things. And it was kind of during that process that I realized when I had my oldest in 2018, that was the first time I've seen a biological relative.
Whoa.
Is what I birthed.
Yes.
And so it's like, I've been in the world, like, looking, when I was younger, I remember looking at Black women, be like, do we look alike? Or watching Sister and being like, is this my story? I don't have the pieces. And so when I had my first daughter, I was like, this is the first person who I am sure of that I share biology with. And I wasn't ready for that moment, as freeing and as hard as it was. Yeah.
I imagine it's both.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you bring in this little person, the whole miracle of birth, all of that. And, I remember how, I think once your child is born and you see him for the first time, that's probably the only part of the story that really fits the fairy tale. It's like this rush of love for this scrunched up, slimy individual,
right,
is just everything.
Yeah.
And to have that additionally, you are mine like nobody has ever been.
Yes. Yeah. A lot in the adoption community, but I'll speak personally for myself, is this lack of sense of belonging. Right? My family of origin chose to place me for adoption and felt that was the best choice. But you always wonder, even if it's logical or not, in my story, it was more emotional than logical, of like, what if I'm not enough? What if somebody changes their mind? And, you birth this person who's like, I'm never changing my mind about you, like, I can't deny you if I wanted to, kind of thing. And that was so beautiful and so hard, and a lot I had to process through, because she doesn't need to carry my weight, right? My story, my healing is mine, and she will have her own story. But yeah.
Well, that's profound. I don't know where to go. I'm still processing that part of your story and what Cairo, the role she played, validating you, grounding you, and then giving you place. And we may talk a little bit about Cairo's story.
I would love to, yeah.
Than we would expect. We know that you lost her when she was very young, old. And I don't know how you put all those things together. If you have still on that journey, I don't know. We'll approach whatever you can.
Yeah.
If you can't, you'll be like, I'm still working on
it. Yes.
I don't know what to do with that question.
Yeah.
But I thought I would start with transracial. So have you done, I'm trying to remember, you've done some research in looking for your work.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so that actually truly overlaps with Cairo too. I've tried a few times before I was successful to find, my biological family or family of origin. And, the one thing they say is that you have to be emotionally ready for any response, right? And that response could be like, great, I'm glad you're doing well. That could be like, I don't know who you are, do not contact me again. That response could be like, can I move in? Let's ingrain our lives, be side to side forever. And so a few times when I started down the journey of finding them, life events happened that proved I don't have the time or the energy right now to give to that. So it was actually after Cairo died and we did not have the reason why that I was like, there might be something medically, genetically that I'm unaware of in my family that led to that. And so that's when I really put the pedal to the metal and said, I need to find my people, I need to find where I came from, and I need to find this story. And so Andrew was actually like my private investigator and detective. My husband, he really did a lot of the work in the sourcing and the calling, and he took the first initial call from a member of my family of origin, just to make sure everyone is who they say they are. And so that was, early spring of 2022 that I connected with my family of origin.
Cairo passed in the
Fall of 21. Yes. Yeah.
6 months, about 6 months or so later.
Yeah. And while I thought I had prepared myself for what that would look like, life be lifing, and life does what it's going to do. So through that connection, I found that my birth mother unfortunately had passed away a few years earlier. And so to have the loss of my daughter, the loss of my mother so close together, to my knowledge, was pretty jarring to have to process and navigate through. But I've been able to connect with my bio uncle, bio grandmother, and a bio cousin, and have, periodically connected with them and celebrated birthdays and done that. Yeah.
It's positive.
Yes.
Not fully ingrained, but at least connected.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So you're two most genetically connected individuals, your daughter and your mother.
Yeah.
Both gone. Connected for a short time and then gone. There's so many layers to that. And I'm thinking certainly the obvious grief.
Yeah.
And the more we know about grief, it really does in the end. It's just all of this love and all this possibility that has no place to go.
Sure.
And so over time, the process is learning what to do with it. My mom's been gone 33 years this year. And I miss my mom.
Yeah.
I'd been without her more years than I was with her.
Wow.
And had to figure out wifing and mothering without her, and the other two women that were kind of mother figures, her sister and her best friend, were all gone within 5 years. So I really didn't figure that out.
Yeah.
And so, but to understand the concept of, I still love you.
Yeah.
I still am impacted by the time I had with you. I am also greatly impacted by the fact that you're not here.
Yes.
I wonder if more so that, I don't know how to measure that. Yet life moves on.
Yeah.
And it's not been that many years. I wonder, have you had this experience? You're always anticipating the anniversary. And whether it's conscious or in your body.
Yes.
My husband that pointed out to me, he could see me changing, like preparing for the crash or the crisis.
Yes.
Leading up to both her birthday and her death date and all of that. I wasn't even conscious of it. But what I remember was the year that I missed it. The year that life was moving on. And April 7th came and went. It was like April 9th, and life didn't stop for April 7th.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with that. I felt like, have I forgotten? Do I not love her? Like, what kind of daughter am I to not remember? But I was memorializing the loss, almost freezing my life to that point. And I was in therapy too.
Yes.
I didn't go to counseling, but no counseling, I'll just say that.
And I've used that line from you before. Yes. Yes.
But it's so help me to not get lost in guilt.
Yes. Yeah.
So since Cairo's loss and since finding and not finding,
Yeah.
You've had two more beautiful girls, and I know life is really busy.
Yeah.
Work, husband, family, and a house, and all the things.
Yeah.
Has there been a time when the anniversary wasn't looming? I just wonder.
Yeah, I think for me, it's still so fresh. This September will be 4 years. And so it's still one of those things where your body remembers before you do. And I think the best thing I've been able to do for myself is to kind of set up safeguards leading up to that. And so for me, that looks like having things I'm looking forward to in this season. Maybe I'm planning a party or taking a trip. Is the hard is coming. There's no way I can avoid that. What can I do to take care of myself and my family during that? And so, yeah. So the first time we were coming, the podcast was a week before her birthday, and I was like, okay, this feels like, okay, we're gonna do this. My schedule's clear. We've worked through our imposter syndrome. And then my brother died. Yeah. And so it's kind of like, we'll add that to the dossier.
That's a funny phrase.
Right.
But it's real. Like,
yeah.
Okay, here we go again. And I remember I was hesitant to still pursue you this season after yet another loss. And
Yeah.
I didn't even have the anniversary or any of that in my consciousness when we set up the day.
Yeah.
I just thought I needed to. Yeah, but one of the things I know about you and really appreciate, and I was sharing in our time just talking before, is you have always, I think, at least with me, demonstrated authentic boundary setting. So if I'd ask you a question, so let's just put that out there. Many years ago, we met as counselor and counselor.
Yes.
And that was our relationship. Everybody found me. Well,
there's not that many Black therapists in Columbus.
Okay. There's more now.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
But I remember pushing into some things and would say, I don't know the answer to that. Let me get back to you.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to release that right now. I haven't. It was just such authentic. You were always very considerate. You thought through, and your answers were always thoughtful. And if it wasn't a place to go, it wasn't a place we tabled it.
Yeah.
But you could guide that. And I imagine as you were able to put those fences, those guideposts or what have you around even your own story as you're processing through layers of it, that when you do get there, when you are ready to open up something, that the freedom to heal, the ability to have the language, like you talked about, that call, give you language you didn't have before.
Yeah.
Must facilitate this incredible healing and resilience that I see live. I don't know if there's a response to that. If you have that's my observation.
Yeah.
What do you think about those dots?
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Resiliency is always tough because most of us don't have a choice, right?
It doesn't.
I was talking to my therapist and she's, she was saying like, we don't really have the privilege to lay in our bed and not come out, when a lot of these griefs happened, with Cairo, I still had a 3-year-old at that point, right? Shiloh was there. And so it's like, well, I still got to get breakfast and make sure they're okay. And I realized that if I don't schedule anything, days are going to pass me by and I'm going to not take care of myself the way I need to. And so I think being intentional with my self-care and with the process, was kind of my survival at that moment. But I think also to the boundary setting, I think something I've talked to other adoptees about is struggling with being a people pleaser, right? You have to kind of, earn your role or earn your place. And for me, my role was be steady, be high achieving, and keep it pushing. And so to be able to push back and say, oh, that's not okay, or that was me coming into my own self, into my own confidence, and then to the safety that was created in that moment, right? Because if it wasn't a safe moment, I wouldn't have been okay. And I'm learning now I can set a boundary regardless what the other person does, but that was my trial run. And I'm so glad you handled that, with such care and understanding to say like, oh, you can set a boundary and still have a healthy relationship. And that's something I hope everybody learns sooner, but I'm grateful that I did learn that.
I felt like you modeled that. Yeah, there's certainly skills that you're taught.
Yeah.
In your process of becoming skilled, but we're also human beings living. And I would say boundary setting and people pleasing, the part of what I live with too. And so they're just places where one of the things I love about the privilege I've had of counseling or coaching people over the years, and particularly I love this space, is I always learn and grow too.
Yeah.
I get rubbed. Real people. Like, I've had people come into my office that I don't particularly care for, but I've got to give them the same care. And
Yeah.
I've got to make sure I facilitate them getting the care that they need, or others that, like you, there was a mutual identification, similar fields, similar. We could talk about being brown skinned girls,
yes,
all that kind of stuff.
Yes,
like you daughtered me in some ways that I mothered you.
Yeah,
so I think there was some mutual validation. Such that I shared that I made sure I had some other counselors, another counselor that was in a supervisory type of space to be sure that I did no harm.
Yeah.
Or that I wasn't working out my stuff on your time. I didn't your show stuff.
Right.
There's that. But I think we both knew from the beginning that this was more than that. And since the many years, it's been many years.
Yes. Right. We good.
You've been able to share some important moments in my life.
Yes.
I'm always so excited to invite you and Andrew to things. And see you show up and see you continue to grow and to thrive. And so if you don't mind, and I know that you'll let me know if you're not okay with it, we talk about the loss of Shiloh. In the last 2 years, I've had 3 girlfriends lose children.
Wow.
Suddenly. And in one in particular, just like I see your community, your friend, the way the community engaged and surrounded and loved and stayed.
That's a key word in grief.
Still a whole group chat of the aunties, right? That, stay. And each of us has been through things through that, over the time. The value of having people be present without answers.
Yes. Please don't give me an answer. Yes.
There's no advice.
Yeah.
There's nothing. To learn how to just be present. To pick up and do a task, a chore without being asked. You might need, maybe you're hungry, let me bring by some food. How about I give a ride to your other child to the next thing? I'm just going to pull up on you. Your energy's off. Has been incredible for me to witness with my friends, as well as what I know about your community. Some tangential connections.
Yes.
In your community. How do you see, or have you seen, how you've grown in comfort or sharing your story? How that has allowed you to be present. We're going through trauma. It may not be the same. But similar spaces where there's no answers.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like I always felt this pressure, right? I am a person of faith and I'm a social worker. It just keeps, so hopefully, so as a person of faith, as someone who's trained in social work, I felt like I should have the answers when somebody was going through something. And then when I didn't, it was just like, oh my gosh, now I'm going through this with the loss of Cairo, and all my training, all my faith has not carried me. What does that mean? Then I felt guilty and I felt ashamed, like none of this is real, or I'm not good at this. And I've always fought imposter syndrome. I think another adoptee thing that you just kind of walk into. And it really took my community literally holding me together to say, this is what we do, right? We stay present and we do a meal train and we help you out because you've shown up in all these ways for us. I'm like, I ain't never show up. I can't cook a meal if I wanted to. But to your point, and their point was like your presence. We know that you can show up. And I think that's not something I really valued that strength of mine until I saw other people do it for me. And so knowing that, one, you have to be vulnerable and say, I'm not okay, even though I have this training in this faith, my whole worldview is rocked. And I don't know if I'm going to make it, and I don't know what I'm going to look like when I make it out on the other side. And to have a whole group of people say, that's okay.
That's okay.
who you are on the other side will get to know and love and support, and who you are today, we have your back. And, you know, I'm always suspicious. I'm like, are you sure you mean that? Yeah. I don't know. Let me try a few things. And they're like, we still here? And I was like, wow. And so it broke down a lot of that fear and uncertainty, and it fostered that sense of belonging that I've been trying to heal and cultivate in my life in a healthy way.
Yeah. Then I have two more things I'm thinking. I know we've been getting the signals, and I was like, sorry.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But, one of my thoughts was, as you are, so you have two more children.
Yes.
The loss of Cairo. I know that you say, and I think of my other friends who've lost children that count off. I'm a mother of three.
Yeah.
One of them lives in heaven. But I'm trying to form the question. Has there been, I know how intentional you are.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw out a word. It's not right.
Okay.
And I'll try to refine it. But a transfer or expectation, pressure, or even additional fear, or something that goes into when the next one comes. Could this happen again?
Yeah.
Or, oh, you're my savior child? Or, you know, those types of things. Am I kind of getting out? So,
yeah.
How has that been a thing? Conscious of it to just speak to it best you can.
Yes. So kind of my order goes, I had Shiloh in 2018, Cairo in 2020 in the height of the pandemic, and then Noah in 2022. So I was just like on this cycle. I got pregnant with Noah during the loss of Cairo, and I was not ready. I was not ready to have to carry somebody else when I was barely carrying myself. But I think that moment saved me in a sense because it gave me purpose. And we always had wanted to have three. Once we had Cairo, I was like, we going to be a girl fam, okay? Like I can be a girl mom. We're going to be accessorized. We're going to be matching. Say less. I will rise to the call. And then when having, my third Noah, it was just like, whoa. And so we didn't, know all the reasons why Cairo had passed unexpectedly while I was pregnant with Noah. And Andrew was on the phone. I was on the phone begging people to give us answers quicker, and just met with, we can't. And so I just felt I was walking into fear continually. And that's when I decided to kind of pursue additional treatment for anxiety and go on medication and say that, like, even though I'm doing everything right, there's more tools in the toolbox that I can use, and there's no shame in that. And to stay who I am and to stay somewhat present, these are the things I need to do, because I don't want my third daughter to carry this weight as if she has to replace something or replace someone. She is her own person. She has her own life, and she has her own story. But, I can't say that every time she didn't get sick, under 16 months, that I didn't go into full-blown PTSD and panic and go through those symptoms and cycles of, I can't have this story repeat itself. And I think the hardest thing for me about going through grief and trauma is that there's no quota. Right? I wish I could operate like the worst thing in my life happened to me. I lost a child unexpectedly. So that means I at least got the next 5 years off. Yeah. And as you know my story, I did not get the next 5 years off. And so it's always feeling as if the other shoe could drop. And so when I was working in therapy, my therapist said, the other shoe will drop. Something will happen. We don't know the scale. We don't know the severity. So why don't you be fully present here and now and soak in every good thing that's happening now that you can? And I said, wait a minute.
I can have joy.
Right. And what you mean another shoe's going to drop? She said, don't focus on that. That's your anxiety speaking. Focus on mindfulness and presence, and that you can find the good amidst the hard. And that has been important for me. And so it looks like scheduling joy. Okay, you're coming into a hard season. There was a domino effect before Cairo died that was already hard. So once August rolls around, my body starts to get tense and I start to get snippy and all these things happen. I said, wait a minute, let's schedule some things that help you. Let's schedule some joy in to keep you going and to help balance out the seesaw of the hard and of the trauma. And that's what's been really helpful for me, if that kind of answers your question.
It actually does. I don't even really know what I was looking for. There was some sort of connection I wanted to try to explore.
Yeah.
And what did your children experience?
Yeah.
I've seen some beautiful family pictures.
Yes.
And so they know about her.
Yeah.
Their big sister.
Yes.
And it's just really beautiful. It's been fun for me to watch Andrew, your girl dad.
Yes, man. Yes.
That's really, really delightful.
Yeah.
Yeah. We touched on a lot of things. And whatever overtime we just went, probably 40 minutes, and
did not feel like that. Yes, you were right. I was nervous, but you were right.
Go as fast. And I am just honored, grateful, and confident, convinced that there's something. I've seen in this conversation. Even if it wasn't about the big things, even if it was, I took medication because that's what I needed.
Yeah.
Or I went to therapy because that's what I needed. Or I just show up and be present, or this is what the value of I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is one for the camera, the front camera. I don't know what the thing is, but I know they did. And so I am grateful for this platform. I am grateful for folks who trust me with their stories. When we talk about the shaker, right? The shaker is you, the mover and the shaker in your own life. The shaker is any event or circumstances or many events that cause you to think in a new way, not learn anything, whatever, find a purpose or a passion. Yeah. And, when you say things like resilience isn't always a choice, I agree. When you ask someone that's dealing with, like, well, what else am I going to do? You fight or you die.
Right.
What else are you going to do?
Right.
For those who can't.
Yeah.
And don't fight and do die.
Yeah.
And you have not. And you have shown this choice to embrace life and love and people and purpose and roles in spite of, like we were saying about, we love our husbands, but sometimes it's like, still you,
yes.
like, grief, like loss, really, again, still you, what?
Yes.
But we do, and you have, and I thank you for that, and I thank you for choosing to be vulnerable, even in my little studio here.
Yes.
And so, what's next? We close it with our drink.
Okay. Thank you, Davia.
I ask a question or two about, do you want a mocktail or a cocktail? One of my friends said, I don't want either. Can we have wine? I'm like, that was cool. That's what we did.
Yes.
But you said you like a bourbon smash. You said a peach bourbon.
Yes.
So that's what we made. It's getting watery now. We're like, the ice melt. But I muddled a little bit of, I did basil again. I like basil and peach.
Yes.
Thought about mint, but we did basil. Basil and peach, a little bit of simple syrup. Mixed it up. Added a few ounces of bourbon. I actually splashed some peach juice in there.
Yes.
Topped with club soda to give it a little bit of a fizz. So cheers.
Cheers. Yes. There we go. Yes, it's pretty as it is good. Yes.
We didn't eat. I'm going to eat this sandwich. I thought with bourbon we'll have a little bit of heavier snacks. But listen, folks, this has been another episode of Tales from the Shaker. I look forward to your comments.
Yes.
After you see this air in a couple of weeks. And just peace.